probably one of the most important landmarks that you're going to see when you're looking at the suboccipital triangle is this guy right here. This is the spinous process of the C2 vertebra. So that little spinous process serves as a very nice attachment site for a lot of muscles that are coming and going from this thing. So with that out of the way, the very first thing that I like to start with is this thing at the very top of the skull, and I'll try to use a good color that stands out. But basically this guy right in here is what is referred to as the Nuchal Line. So before you start talking about muscles, I think it's pretty good to have some landmarks to orient yourself. So this Nuchal Line is that attachment site where you just see a ton of these muscles connecting into the part of the skull, and this is what's helping you be able to rotate and extend your head. And so Nuchal Line is a really important landmark. And then another really important bony landmark before we talk about anything else here is going to be this guy right here. And this is the transverse process of C1. Sometimes you might see C1 called the atlas, but I'm going to call it C1 because that makes sense to me. But basically that's a transverse process. And so with that out of the way, what we're going to do is start naming these guys. So the very first muscles that we see here, this guy is called the Rectus, Capitis, Posterior, major muscle. And so RCP major muscle connects from the C2 spinous process onto that Nuchal Line. And so by connecting onto it, if this thing contracts, it's going to be pulling that head back. And it's also, if one of the two RCP major muscles contracts, that's how you can have rotation of the head. The thing below it that you'll see is, and I'll try to use multiple colors here, this guy is called Obliqus, Capitus, Inferior. And why are we calling this inferior? So the reason is that there is this guy right here, the Obliqus Capitis Inferior, that connects onto that transverse process of C1, and then we've got another guy right in there, and so it's superior to that, so we consequently call this Obliqus Capitis Superior. I'll abbreviate that, muscle. And then the last thing we're going to be looking at is this guy right here, the last muscle of our suboccipital triangle, and this guy is called Rectus Capitis Posterior, or RCP minor muscle. And so the key thing that we are supposed to take away as students is that when you look at all of these muscles, all four of them, these guys all are innervated by the suboccipital nerve. And so that's the reason why we call this a suboccipital triangle. And I just want you guys to make note of all these attachment sites. So spinous process C2 is really important because that's where we're connecting a lot of these things from. We also got that Nuchal Line as well as the transverse process of C1. And so this is an overview of the suboccipital triangle, so for the muscles as well as the nerves and the attachment sites. I hope this is helpful. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys next time.